everybody, welcome. I wanted to paint some fences today, but it is raining, so here I am. Today I'm going to tackle that poll we had. Okay guys, I have not gotten to all the comments yet, but I am going to give you the result of those I have counted and checked so far, because I do not think the outcome will change. Strangely, I expected differently, but like me, the majority believes the surrogate, or at least one of them, was known to them. Suggestions were family, a friend, or a referral from someone like Elton John and his husband. So the reasons given by you, who chose this option mostly, has to do with Meghan's desire and insistence to be in charge. Of course, she would not have that option, at least not as much, if a woman was part of an agency and had them to back her up. Another reason most of you said they would have chosen a person known to them has to do with medical background. Although I would imagine an agency would give you the person's medical history as well. But we know Harry and Meghan and their paranoia. Having said that, at least 12 of you suggested an unknown person or young woman, and with unknown I just mean someone they did not know before. The reasons you gave were basically the same as for the known surrogate, except that some of you said that Meghan is so obsessed with celebrity that you can see Meghan asking for referrals from celebrities, the likes of Elton John and the Kardashians, etc., just so that she knew in her head that they used the same agency as Elton, or then this one or that one. The place, UK and US, were indeed close, but it is basically only because most of you were sure that Archie was born in the United Kingdom and Lily in the United States. The majority of you also do not believe that Archie and Lily were born from the same surrogate, and the absolute best reason most of you gave for that was indeed COVID. Yes, if Lily was born early June, then she was likely conceived sometime in September 2020, and lockdown was still in full swing at that time. Okay, and then the vast majority of you do not believe there was one surrogate for both children. You, I would say 98 to 99% of you, believe there was a birth mommy in the United Kingdom and a different one in the United States. 2 people were of the opinion that the surrogate was from Canada and that the surrogacy IVF was also done in Canada, likely for one or both children. Most of you think that Lily does not have Meghan's DNA, some suggesting that Lily was a designer baby. A few even think that Lily also do not have Harry's DNA, and 1 or 2 were unsure whether Archie has Meghan's DNA. Now, okay guys, the whole exercise was to come and tell you what I believe, okay, because together I think we can sort this out. Okay, when it comes to Archie, I believe Archie has both Meghan and Harry's DNA. I believe the IVF procedure was not done in London, either somewhere in Europe or possibly at King Charles's fertility clinic, although that clinic is not known to do IVF. They have a more holistic approach to fertility, but anything is possible. As for Archie's surrogate, I believe it was someone known to both Harry and Meghan. I also believe it was someone who has children of her own. I also believe Archie was born in the United Kingdom, possibly in a private clinic. But because the birth was a little hurried along, shall we say, Archie had to stay in hospital a little longer. I believe Archie was born about 2 weeks before he was born. Meghan and her, we got married before we got married. Well, I think Archie was born before he was born, okay? I think he was born on the 15th or 16th of April, somewhere between the 15th and the 20th of April, and released from hospital on the 15th or 16th of May. I think the baby was moved from the clinic where he was born to the Portland hospital. I believe the surrogate left London a couple of days after Archie was born, once she knew he was going to be okay. Harry and Meghan never visited him in hospital, but one of their assistants did, an older woman, likely Sarah Latham. Can I prove any of this? Unfortunately not. But this is the educated guess of someone who witnessed something and then tried or did her best to put it together so it would make sense. Okay, now, Lily, one of you made a very intelligent comment. We tend to forget that it was COVID lockdown during the largest part of 2020. So, my dears, let's look at Meghan's stories about 2020 and what the actual reality could be. In July 2020, or starting in July 2020, due to the rise in COVID cases, the cottage hospital started to limit exceptions being made for visitors' entrance to the hospital. So what they are saying is that before July, they made exceptions and allowed a small number of visitors, but during and after July, they even stopped that. So that miscarriage with Harry holding her hand, etc., likely did not happen, because Harry would likely not have been allowed in. Would the cottage hospital have fallen for, "But I'm a prince"? No, likely not. Okay, so let's look at what the situation was in June 2021 when Lily was born. Well, here it is, and I'm actually reading it from the cottage hospital's newsletter or little booklet that they put out. Will require hospital visitors to be vaccinated or show proof of a negative COVID-19 test taken within 72 hours of entering a hospital building. All visitors are still required to wear masks at all times, regardless of vaccination status. Now let's go back to the twerking video. No masks whatsoever. And it appears as if there was a third person filming, which would likely not have been allowed. I don't know, however, whether cottage hospital would have allowed a bodyguard in. Anyway, moving on. I personally doubt Archie and Lily had the same surrogate or birth mom. I personally also believe that Lily was a designer baby, although not in the full scientific sense. You see, Megan was well aware of what we thought and said about Archie's birth, so she was adamant to have a daughter with blonde or red hair and blue eyes. Well, there was only one way to ensure that she got that, and that was not to use her own eggs. Not that she had any left. I believe they were all used during the process to get Archie. So there are different ways to get that designer baby. One of those ways would be through pre-implantation genetic diagnosis, or else PGD. Or then the second way would be direct genetic modification. So PGD is basically where you elect the embryo or embryos with the desired characteristics from those created through IVF. The desired ones are implanted and then the others discarded. The DGM is where the actual embryo is directly modified by inserting new genetic sequences. Now, this is still very risky and it's still experimental, and its track record, as per the last report I found, is still to an extent largely undetermined. So I believe Meghan and Harry either chose an embryo with red or blonde hair and certain genome traits so that she could have blue eyes and had that implanted, or they chose a surrogate with those traits and she was impregnated with Harry's gametes or via IVF, but with Harry's DNA and obviously her own. Something like that. I'm sure it was done professionally by a very experienced doctor, but for some reason I have visions of a turkey baster and Meghan doing it herself. But let's drop that subject. You see, in 2020, most elective procedures like beauty-enhancing, cosmetic surgery, IVF procedures, etc., were minimized due to COVID. But being the Duke and the Duchess, I'm sure Harry and Meghan had a way to persuade someone to do it. Remember, the doctor who supposedly assisted with the birth of Lily is married to a fertility doctor. Well, why did she not wait a little until COVID was over? Well, I think that answer's fairly simple. Meghan was getting older and older, and, it would have eventually been hard for us to believe that she was pregnant. And at the time, no one knew how long the restrictions would last. So obviously, she just wanted it done and get it over with. So yes, my common sense tells me, or if I put everything together from what I have been told, then I think Archie's IVF and birth took place in the United Kingdom. The IVF process took place in Europe or Britain, and that the surrogate was British or has a British passport. I believe Archie has Harry and Meghan's DNA, and I believe his surrogate had children before. Although I'm not 100% sure, I do think Lily's surrogate was American, young, blonde. I believe the IVF took place in the United States, and so did the birth. I do not believe Lily has Meghan's DNA. And although I think she does have Harry's, I also think there may be a possibility that she does not even have Harry's DNA. I do not think Lily was born on the 4th of June either, although I think it's more likely that she was born on June the 4th than Archie was born on May the 6th. The reason, or the main reasons, why I do not believe Archie was born on the 6th of May is not just of what Harry said, namely that Archie grew or changed so much in 2 weeks, but have you noticed that Harry is never at home for Archie's supposed birthday? Have you noticed how they made a big sing-song about Lily's birthday, but never Archie's? Well, I think it's because they celebrate his birthday on his actual birthday. Now, they can't put that out to the public because somehow someone might find out what date the picture was taken on, metadata and such things. Now, to make the video complete, I have to mention 2 other theories. Some of my subscribers had, and although it's not my personal theory, we cannot dismiss it because we do not know anything for sure except that Meghan's bump inflated and deflated and dropped to her knees, and that not a single person has to date come out and not only told us that they were assisting at the birth of either Archie or Lily, but to date no one has even seen Harry and Meghan at the hospitals where they supposedly gave birth, particularly the Portland hospital. It's now 6 years and no one, not even a janitor, has come out and said, yes, I saw them at the Portland on the 6th of May 2019. But that in reality is all we know for sure. We only know what we could see. We may feel we know more, but if you try to really break it down for, say, a court, then that is all we know for sure. And therefore we cannot laugh at or dismiss any other theory. So the one theory is that Harry made someone else pregnant. Meghan, who already had a clause in him, would not let go and promised him that she will help him take care of his child and provide a smokescreen so that no one would know about the illegitimate birth. Now, there are 2 routes to the story. One is that he had a cash and grab at Buckingham Palace with one of the young household staff there, and the other is that he had a rendezvous with a girl he dated before. The other theory, of course, is that they do not have children at all, and these children are just little actors. This may sometimes be when it comes to photographs, where they may borrow or Photoshop. But unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know which one, I know 100% that Archie exists. And I believe so does Lily. Okay, guys, I'm going to leave it here for now. I'm working on something relatively big for you, but I do not wish to talk about it yet because I don't yet know whether I can pull it off. Hopefully I can, but I do not wish to jinx it at this point. But in the meantime, I'll see you back here as soon as possible. Please take good care of yourselves and stay safe. Bye.